everyone. Here is Geraldinho Lemos from Belo Horizonte, Brazil. I'm here with Marco Gandra from Portal Saber Spiritismo. And tonight we are going to talk about the learnings from Chico Xavier's trips to the United States. This is Program to Know Spiritism number 47. And we are transmitting live for Kardec Radio and also for Spiritism Dissemination and DSN, Spiritism Discover Network. And today we are going to review the trips that Chico Xavier did to the United States in the 60s. As we know, Chico Xavier went twice to the United States, the first time in 1965 and the second time in 1966. And I'm very happy to have lots of cards, postcards that he sent to my family members at that time. And Vanessa Anceloni shared them with you through the Spiritist magazine of July 2013 in the issue number 22. Let's see what Chico Xavier gave us. Chico Xavier visited the United States twice, as I told, and the objective of these trips was to promote our spiritual principles of the Spiritist doctrine. The first trip took place between July and August of 1965. Chico Xavier, together with the medium Valdo Vieira, visited some Spiritist friends in New York, New Jersey, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Maryland, and North Carolina. During those visits, they established contacts with people in order to disseminate the Spiritist doctrine in the United States. During that first trip, they became friends, great friends, with the Haddad family from Elon College in North Carolina. The foundation of the Christian Spiritist Center in Elon College, North Carolina, was the result of that first trip to the United States. We have a postcard that Chico Xavier sent to my great-aunt Adélia Machado de Figueiredo on July the 26th of 1965 from New York City. The first messages received by Chico Xavier by his psychography in English were published there in a pamphlet dated in August 1965. It was titled Spiritual Messages, and it was edited by the Christian Spiritist Center of Elon College, North Carolina. The pamphlet was sent to the couple also, the couple Nair and Silvio Pascoal. Nair was my other grand-aunt, the youngest one. She was my grandmother's sister, the youngest one. And in that pamphlet, Chico Xavier dedicated to this couple that also my grand-aunt and great-uncle received. They both lived in São Paulo, the capital. Chico Xavier's second trip to the United States started in April of 1966. It started in Los Angeles and San Francisco in California. From the West Coast, they traveled to the East Coast to the United States. Chico and Valdo Vieira with him went to New York, where in May 17, 1966, they launched the first book, which was fully psychographic in English. The book was titled The Word of the Spirit, and it was published by the Philosophical Library of New York, located at 15 East 40th Street in New York City, and its catalog number at the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. is 65-25462. We have a copy of this first edition of the above-mentioned book, which was signed by Chico Xavier on this very same day that the book was launched in May 17, 1966. The book was a gift to my great-aunt Nair Machado Pascoal and my great-uncle Silvio do Couto Pascoal. The book was mailed along with a postcard, which was written by Chico Xavier. Sorry. I'm very sorry about that. Excuse me. Well, I was saying that the book was a gift to my great-aunt Nair and my great-uncle Silvio, and was mailed along with a postcard, which was written by Chico Xavier giving the good news of May 28, 1966. In this postcard, he wrote to both my aunt and uncle that he has already launched his first book in English in May 17, 1966. 2 weeks later, on June 14, 1966, Chico Xavier wrote himself again to my great-aunt Nair. In this letter, he told about his work in the United States. In the same touching letter, which was written in fluent English language with great fluency, Chico talked about how much he missed his friends from Brazil and all the tasks that he used to perform there, in addition to perform there. He was, of course, with saudades, and he missed Brazil and his works in Brazil, in Uberaba at that time. In addition to this, he also said that the spiritual benefactors were inspiring him to study English. And this is very important, my friends. Chico Xavier himself wrote in English that the spiritual benefactors, his mentors, were inspiring him to study English because it was necessary to spread the word of the Spiritism in English. So that he did these studies. Having knowledge of the language, Chico Xavier would be able to clarify and disseminate the principles of the Spiritist doctrine. From New York, Chico Xavier traveled to Elon College in North Carolina, where he attended public sessions to study Spiritism. He also psychographed in numerous messages. One of them, which was entitled Guidance and Success, was published in a booklet by the Christian Spirit Center on July 6, 1966. Chico Xavier sent it to my great-aunt Adélia Machado de Figueiredo, who lived in Belo Horizonte at that time. A fact worth mentioning is a prediction Chico Xavier made that time before traveling to the United States in 1966. his second visit to the country. And in this prediction, Chico Xavier foresaw the desertion of his fellow friend Valdo Vieira from the Spiritist path, unfortunately. And this was witnessed by some of our dearest friends. One of them is Nona, Noêmia Barbosa da Silva, a friend of our family and a friend of Chico that also lived here in Belo Horizonte. And she attended the meeting where Chico Xavier predicted that to Valdo Vieira's mother. And Chico predicted that Valdo Vieira was going to withdraw from Spiritism during his trip to the North American land. And in fact, Chico told us during our private conversations in the 80s and 90s that while inside the airplane that took him from São Paulo to the United States in 1966, the Spirit of Emmanuel told him about the details of this spiritual attack, which was going to involve both mediums. And Emmanuel explained that the dark shadows were getting organized to divert Valdo Vieira to Japan. Unfortunately, that happened, and Valdo withdrew all his responsibilities to Spiritism. And this is a very important thing to us because we may meditate about our own responsibilities and how much we must prepare for this kind of attacks from the shadows and not divert ourselves from our correct pathway with Jesus and the Spiritism. Now to close this program, To Know Spiritism, number 47, I'm going to read to you this letter that Chico Xavier wrote completely in English to my dear great aunt Nair Machado Pascoal. She was the one that introduced me to Chico Xavier in 14th of October 1981, some 39 years ago almost. And she gave me, before her death, before her pathway to the spiritual world, she gave me this letter, and I hold this letter dear to my heart and to the memories of Chico Xavier here in Pedro Leopoldo at Casa de Chico Xavier. The letter, as I told you, was handwritten by Chico Xavier and dated on June 14th, 1966, Elon College. Dear Nair, for many days I have intended to send you and Dr. Silvio some news from us. Time went by and I could not do it. I apologize, but today I went to tell you things here are good. Praise God. I believe you know through our friends there in Brazil that the book of our benefactors, The Word of the Spirit, was issued in New York last May 17th. You can imagine how excited I was when I saw it in my hands. I did not at any time feel alone when it happened, and I had you all present also, our beloved Brazilian brothers in spirit with me. Be assured that with the eyes of my soul, I saw myself a heart with thousands of other hearts in our Brazil, receiving books with all gratitude and joy before Jesus, our Lord. Then I immediately went back to Pedro Leopoldo with my memory. New York was beautiful and busy around me, but I still saw again our home of the past days, our families together, the green trees around our small city of Pedro Leopoldo, the narrow river, and the bridge always cool by the cataract. And above all, our childhood. I saw again you with our dear João, your brother, and I when we were going to school each morning. I remembered your kind hands when you gave me your snack in order to see me more pleased in my lessons. I was reminded of our unforgettable Zeca, our Adélia, Pazinha, Jaime, Carmen, and Walter. Carmen is my grandmother. Believe it, I cried very much with the thankfulness and happiness in my sweet remembrance. My tears looked like a soft spring watching my soul. Finally, I understood that my poor work in mediumship belongs also to you all, our dearest brothers of the Machado family. When I finished our task in New York, I came to North Carolina, where I am with our swell folks, the Haddad family, in Elon College. They are blessed benefactors. I don't know how to thank God because I am so happy here. I am working spiritually every day, and I continue studying English very hard. Now, our spiritual friends are teaching me with my teachers in home something about translation because they wish me to develop it for the propagation of our principles in English. And I'm going to do my best efforts for the fulfillment of these new duties. Of course, I have you all in my heart as always. God willing, I intend to return to Brazil in a short time, and I desire to see you and Dr. Silvio on my way back. My regards to our dearest sons and our friends. To both of you and Dr. Silvio, my best wishes. May God bless you every moment. Affectionately, Chico Xavier. So beautiful letter from Chico Xavier. And I'm thinking nowadays, in 2020, how many years has passed away since that letter was written in 1966. It's a long way. It's like, 54 years since Chico Xavier wrote that. And it closed my attention, this saying by Chico, that he was studying English because the spiritual benefactors wanted him to study it, to develop it, so that he could spread the word of Spiritism in English. And I asked to myself, what are we Brazilians, Spiritists, doing with our responsibilities towards the Spiritist doctrine in America in Canada, in the United Kingdom, in all the countries that have the English language as their first language. We must do this work of translation, of comprehension, spreading the word in lectures, through the multimedia, in the English word, so that other companions, other friends, other brothers and sisters that can only comprehend English can assess and can understand us, our very important principles of the Spiritist doctrine that in many ways, in many books, only we have in Portuguese. So we must do this task as Chico Xavier inspired us to do so. And so that I'm closing this program respectfully asking you all to fulfill Chico Xavier's dreams and desires to do so by doing us this task. May God bless you all and see you next week. From Belo Horizonte, Brazil, at Portal Saber Espiritismo, and from TV Saber Espiritismo in YouTube to Kardec Radio and Spiritism Dissemination and DSN. I'm Geraldo Lemos Neto. I'm here with Marco Gandra from Belo Horizonte to you. You have a very good night. See you next week.